Peace. Welcome to the Knowledge Yourself radio show. My name is Teray Allah.
Peace, Jakil Knowledge Allah.
Peace, Jarulullah.
And we would like to welcome you to another broadcast of the Knowledge Yourself radio show. On today, November the 24th, what we call Now Cipher Victory, Wisdom Culture. So each show is sponsored by Global Position Solutions at globalpsolutions.net. And also, if you would like to get in contact with us on social media, you can check us on Twitter and on our Facebook. Well, as always, we would like to begin today's show with a quote. Although I read a variety of newspapers from around the country, newspapers are only a poor shadow of reality. Their information is important to a freedom fighter not because it reveals the truth, but because it discloses the biases and perceptions of both those who produce the paper and those who read it. That's by Nelson Mandela. So we had all agreed as a collective that once a month we would bring you some news, and that would be a 1-hour broadcast, because our feeling is that, and this was communicated to me by Jarul, that, we always show and prove that the news is not doing their job. So what we like to do is we like to reveal some information, what we call knowledge. Okay, it's not just information, it's knowledge, which will further enlighten you about, the deeper understanding of news events, maybe some of the things that we're not paying close attention to. So we're going to hit you with several different news reports over the course of this hour. Of course, they're going to be out of the categories of entertainment, politics, sports, the world, science, and health, among other things. So you wanted to take it away with the first news report?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well,
So
as far as to that quote too, though, and I wish I would have pulled these stats though. Apparently, alternative media has higher approval ratings than your mainstream media. And it's, as you were saying, you were speaking to, is mainstream media is not doing their job. They get caught in multiple lies all the time, telling half truths, and yeah. So
Half truth. That in itself. What is a half truth? That's
what is a
bananas.
half truth? Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be, and I think we were building about that. It wouldn't necessarily be a half truth as much as it would be
A lie.
Well,
Let's be honest.
well, you know what I'm saying? What's that song from Snoop Dogg? He said, "What's the use of the truth if you can't tell a lie sometimes?" And so, but I think to tell a lie, you've got to have elements of the truth in it, or else it's not going to be believable. You know what I mean? So you can't tell someone about pink elephants and no one's ever seen a pink elephant, right? But you can make an outrageous story about a gray elephant because people could identify with that, right? So you got to have a little bit of truth in it. I think that's that trick knowledge, right?
Yeah. Well, that comes back to the show where we did, as it relates to what the media does. What was the name of the actual application where you use a term that kind of softens
Double
up?
speak?
Yeah, double speak, right? So instead of saying a lie, you say half truth.
Right. Like affordable healthcare plan.
Right.
Well, which part of that is contradictory, the affordable or the plan?
I think it's affordable because they got the plan. So the mother got us at the affordable. In any event, speaking of affordable plans and healthcare, Obama recently was giving out awards to people, some deserving, some not. In any event, Oprah Winfrey got an award for the Presidential Freedom
Medal
Award.
of Freedom, yeah.
Medal of Freedom. Yeah, and apparently, right, that's what I said. Part of that was due to her civil rights work that she's been doing.
It must have been that last role in the movie with Forrest Whitaker, was it?
Oh, the Butler.
The Butler, right? That
must have been what it was. Because I'm like, what role has she been in? I mean, what has she been doing as far as civil rights?
Color Purple.
Color Purple. That must be what it is. Actually, we got a video, guys. If you want to.
It's not the Color Purple, but.
Puffs knows winter is hard on your face. The start of sneeze season, the wind-blown watery eyes, the sniffling guy in the bus, and of course, the snow angels with your little angels. That's why Puffs Plus lotion is soft. Puffs Plus are dermatologist tested to be gentle. They help soothe irritated skin by locking in moisture better, so you can always put your best face forward.
Early in Oprah Winfrey's career, her bosses told her she should change her name to Susie. I have to pause here to say I got the same advice. They didn't say I should be named Susie, but they suggested I should change my name. People can relate to Susie. That's what they said. It turned out, surprisingly, that people could relate to Oprah just fine. In more than 4,500 episodes of her show, her message was always, you can. You can do, and you can be, and you can grow, and it can be better.
Oprah G. Winfrey is a global media icon. When she launched The Oprah Winfrey Show in 1986, there were few women, and even fewer women of color, with a national platform to discuss the issues and events shaping our times. But over the 25 years that followed, Oprah Winfrey's innate gift for tapping into our most fervent hopes and deepest fears drew millions of viewers across every background, making her show the highest-rated talk show in television history. Off-screen, Oprah Winfrey has used her influence to support underserved communities and to lift up the lives of young people, especially young women, around the world. In her story, we are reminded that no dream can be deferred when we refuse to let life's obstacles keep us down.
Yeah, pretty. So, and by the way, pardon. So, Puff, what was that? Puff Kleenex?
Puff Kleenex is not a sponsor of Knowledge Cell Radio.
Although, if you guys want to, slide some money our way,
No.
hit us up. We'll let you know which account to deposit.
Maybe we should hit up Oprah. Maybe we should kick some sponsorship our way.
Well, they did mention that her off air, the things that she's doing for young women.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I guess in her defense, she does have a school in Africa where she's trying to help young women. So peace to her for that.
Okay.
How many schools she have in America?
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's a really good statement right there, because she has a school in South Africa, and there are a lot of people, and it hasn't been widely broadcast because it kind of was extinguished, And the question that was proposed to Oprah was, why are you starting a school in South Africa? And she made it very clear as to why she was doing that. Of course, it was to
help the French water company get in, which she wasn't able to do, but Jay-Z did.
Really?
Is that what?
I don't know. Listen, this is the news, KNEWS. We're straight up bringing it to you live. So I want you to add on to that, but essentially, the thing with the controversy, so to speak, was that the people of Chicago, some people in Chicago, felt that since Oprah is from Chicago originally, that she would be investing her money into a school in Chicago. So I'm not going to say, because I don't have that particular quote or statement in front of me, but it was, her response was along the lines that it wouldn't be taken care of, you know what I mean, in the community in that respect, which means that may be another way of saying that it wouldn't be appreciated. So hold me to that. I'll bring those back and forths to you.
Well, there's some other interesting things as far as if she would have done that, would she have been able to make it an all girls thing? And there was, I wrote it down on my original iPad, the one with paper that you need a pen or pencil to work in. I felt to bring that though, but in any event, she's doing counseling, at things for women, but she doesn't extend those same kind of things to males. So she's definitely one-sided in her approach. As far as, so maybe that had something to do with it. They weren't going to allow her to do like an all-girls school type thing or something. Because her school in Africa, right, is just an all-girls program. Those are different things to look at.
So instead, we have an all-male graveyard in the city of Chicago.
Right.
So, again, we would only speak, and we speak truth to power, is that, it's everyone's responsibility to stop the violence at home and abroad to the best of our ability. Of course, it's not to discredit Miss Winfrey or any other person who's visibly trying to do something for the community, the world, the global community. However, it's just sometimes we get mixed messages, especially from celebrities.
Right.
So
That's real.
yeah, God, we're gonna pass it over around the round table to the God Jeru. Thank you for that, brother. Peace.
Yeah, peace. So I was doing a knowledge to realpharmacy.com. I really like that website.
Is it because it's real?
Well, it seems real to me, as real as it can get, right? So, a Harvard study confirms fluoride reduces children's IQ, which we already know based on the show that we, tackled this on. If you missed it, go back and do the knowledge. But a recent published Harvard University meta-analysis funded by the National Institutes of Health has concluded that children who live in areas with highly fluorinated water have significantly lower IQs than those who live in low fluorinated water areas. So they actually came out with a 32-page report that can be downloaded for free that goes into the environmental health perspectives of that research.
Wait, say that again, because our people like stuff for free.
32 pages.
All free.
But I don't know about books for free, right? But yeah, 32-page report that can be downloaded for free of charge from the environmental health perspectives on the research that they did. They basically looked at various different research that's been, concluded for decades that fluoride is terrible for you. They looked at Chinese studies all over the world, and they just compiled them to come to what was already known.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
now I think that's interesting. If we begin to connect a couple of dots here. So we also did a school program show where we built upon how they're throwing black and brown kids into so-called special needs class at a higher rate. Right. So now let's think about this. In these these places where they have high fluorination, they're in inner city places where these black and brown people are living.
Exactly.
Right. So could that have something to do with the performance or the attitude of the kids?
Based on this, it does have. Absolutely, it does have. So yeah, I wanted to get into some of the, specifics. It talks about serum fluoride concentrations associated with high intakes from drinking water may exceed 1 milligram to a liter, or 50. I don't know what SMOL is. You might know.
SM.
Yeah, SMOL.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, per liter. Thus, more than 1,000 times the levels of some other neurotoxins that cause neurodevelopmental damage. So basically, that simply means that fluoride is much stronger than a lot of other neurotoxins that do, cause brain damage and things like that. So it's in our water, it's in our toothpaste, it's just about anywhere you can think of. It's in a lot of foods. So your exposure to fluoride is there. Unless you're really, cautious. But if you take a shower, you're going to get some, remnants of it that way too. So that would explain why most of the world looks at America like a bunch of dumbasses. I mean, let's be real.
Literally, we are if we're consuming fluoride.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. And here would be the indication of it. So,
Right.
like I said before, and what's funny about this article is it has Colgate
As a
ad,
sponsor?
as an ad on the article.
Ah.
But that's funny in itself. But yeah. So basically, I'll just tell you a little bit about some of the reported effects of fluoride. Reduction of nicotinic acetylchlorine receptors, which I'm not going to even front and say I know what that is. Damage to the hippocampus, which is a part of the brain. Impaired antioxidant defense systems. Increased uptake of aluminum, which we know aluminum and Alzheimer's go hand in hand. And accumulation of fluoride in the pineal gland. You know.
Can you add on about the pineal gland, because I know all of us, we've been exposed to that, and many of our viewers may not be able to see the connection between fluoride and the pineal gland.
Well, the pineal gland is what some consider the third eye. In reptiles, it's actually a functioning eye. In some reptiles, from my research, and they said at one point in our evolution it wasn't actually a functioning eye for us, but in this day and time it's more of an eye that is not necessarily an eye like our two eyes, but an eye that is more about sensing energy, and it's more about reaching higher levels of thinking and consciousness, and more abstract thinking, more artistic in thought, rationality, and those types of things. So, if I have if I'm a government and I'm doing all types of heinous stuff across the world, and I want my people to not obviously be as highly aware of what I'm doing, of course I'm going to use fluoride in the water. So,
On another note, Hitler also put fluoride in concentration camps to dumb the people down to make them more controllable and docile. So,
Wow. I mean, thank you for that, God. I mean, this is why this is a really important show, because as if you go back into our archive videos on our YouTube channel, you're gonna see the connection, how in some way we always revisit certain topics. So thank you for that one, Jerul.
Right.
Peace.
Peace.
I have something else, since it's piggybacking on kind of science, but as health science. But there was an article that came out this week, and you can check it out on CNN, USA Today, about how some scientists discovered will be considered a prehistoric body of water in the Atlantic Ocean, in Chesapeake Bay.
okay.
So just to kind of quote some pieces from it, it says that Chesapeake Bay is so enormous it can be seen from outer space. Okay, and they're saying that essentially Chesapeake Bay became born, to use our language, because it was either an asteroid or a huge chunk of ice that hit the Earth about 35 million years ago. Okay, and what they found below this, below Chesapeake Bay, is they're basically calling it like a reservoir of seawater, basically. So it says that, quote, while drilling holes in southern Virginia to study the impact crater, the scientists discovered the oldest large body of ancient seawater in the world. So that apparently is considered the oldest sea body, or body of water in the world.
And that's in the Atlantic Ocean.
That's in the Atlantic Ocean.
So is that adding to the size of?
The way they had explained it is that was the size of the Atlantic. Originally, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it appears, it says the water is between 100 million and 150 million years old. And if you want to check out a little bit more information about it, it's published in a journal called Nature. So, and this was some information put out by the USGS and Virginia Department of Environmental Quality. So it's always interesting to see the developments of science, and how much more we learn about you know prehistory or what have you.
That's in itself prehistoric. Right? What is prehistoric? That's like
Exactly.
double talk backwards. You know what I mean? Like,
That's that technology.
Yeah.
They give you something that sounds like it can be right, and you're just like, yeah. No, wait a minute.
Right.
Wait, that doesn't make sense at all.
So let the unknown be exposed and be founded.
But in that, there's truth though. Prehistory, so before his story. So it just doesn't necessarily fit into his scheme of the story that he created.
Right.
For to be taught to our children in school and things like that. So I mean, it makes sense from that perspective.
There you go. That's the understanding right there, right? I like it, indeed.
On to more news.
Yeah. So I got, since we're within the health realm, health and science, there's also some technology too. They've got this new, I don't necessarily want to call it a robot. I was listening to this nice
iRobot.
Well, I guess it wasn't a debate, but the show Star Talk Radio with Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist. He had this robotics dude on there, and so they were kind of going back and forth on what a robot is and isn't. In any event, they've got this new device, this machine that basically cleans the room, disinfects the room by shooting an ultraviolet light beam around the room, and it's able to go into the DNA level of the germ or virus or whatever and destroy it on that level. Now,
that sounds crazy.
Well, at first I was like, well, that's awesome because
they need it in hospitals.
Right, because we know that hospitals are filthy places, right? And those are some of those are the places where you can get the sickest at, right? It's because they have all these diseases that become immune to certain different things, right? Not just to mention they end up kind of being dirty for whatever reason. But so now if you've got something that can kill disease at a DNA level, you can't really, there's no immunity to that, right? So as long as it stays a weapon that's used in a hospital to kill germs and viruses, it's cool. Me and my overactive imagination.
Could it be used for something else?
I'm just saying. Yeah, they've already got these other sound machines that, can stop your motion or burn you from the inside. So, although this is a great advance in medical technology, as long as it stays there, I think it'll be an awesome thing.
Yeah, and for us, to think that it would only stay in that level, we'd be pretty naive just to think that, we got America, which is the military leader in the world.
Right.
So any scientific development in this country is more than likely going to be used at a military level.
If I was a military dude and had a lot of money to throw at a device or a person to say, hey, now that you made this, let's just buy it. I've got my own team of super intelligent scientists. Thanks for coming up with the groundwork. I'm just going to snatch that from you and have these dudes, reverse engineer it and make it into some plasma gun thing.
Right.
Right, and that's the thing, and we always bring this up on the show. It just doesn't. Actually, you brought this up on a previous show, which is what sort of ethical laws are in place in regards to technology. It just doesn't seem like there's really any limitations placed on what can be released and actually manufactured, and more importantly, B, if that piece of technology has been made to benefit, humanity, and is it going to remain that way?
Right.
I mean, like once that thing is patented and made, right? I mean, the scientists that made it have to come to some sort of, conclusion. Like, okay, well, we're only going to use it for this.
Right.
We're not going to give you this information so you can turn it into something else. I mean, what is there just doesn't.
Well,
you can buy everybody now.
Well, exactly, and then so I mean that's part of the thing with the patent, right? And that's why sometimes people choose not to patent things, and sometimes you do patent for whatever reason, right? But so if you do patent it, your patent only lasts for a certain amount of time, and sometimes after that it becomes what they call like public domain, right? So anyone can get that information now. Versus if you don't patent something, and it's not something that's widely known. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, there's people who make rockets in the backyard, right? So I'm sure there's people all over America, all over the world who are creating things you don't necessarily. No one knows about it unless you happen to know that person. You're in the area, and so those kind of things you'd probably be able to keep a secret to yourself, right, to a certain degree. But I think once you patent it, then you kind of go into that realm of okay, well, how long can I keep this as mine?
Wow.
So what if you don't get, and then you're in a system really that's not, or it's designed to, let's say, work for the person who has the most money, right? And so we already know that anyone else who's not at that level is on the losing end of that battle, right? You don't have military spending money, you know what I mean? You don't have government spending money. Shoot, people don't have IBM money, right?
That's true.
Yeah, so when you're thing that. When you're fighting battles that can be fought with a resource that you don't have unlimited access to, you're kind of at a bad position or situation.
Thank you for that, God.
But that is a cool idea.
Check that out, man.
Yep. All right, so back more health. Another one coming from realpharmacy.com. Any of y'all ever eaten walnuts?
It's been a really long time.
It's been a real time? Oh, okay.
But I don't eat chestnuts. Dr. J joke.
I'll ask you about that one later.
Yeah, so according to the FDA, walnuts are drugs.
Really?
Yes.
Just like vitamin C.
Drugs, right. So,
a drug.
yeah, because Diamond Foods made truthful claims about the health benefits of consuming walnuts that the FDA did not approve, it sent the company a letter declaring your walnut products are drugs, and new drugs at that, and therefore they may not legally be marketed in the United States without an approved new drug application.
Wow.
Right.
When I used to eat walnuts at my grandmother's house, I thought something was a little funny. I'm just joking, man.
Got some extra power?
Hey, man, what's in these, Grandma? Man.
So you can't tell the truth without going to the FDA to say, is it okay if I tell the truth?
Right. I mean, what next? Are they going to ban water because it's known to hydrate you and cause great detoxing, things, which was beneficial to your health. Now you've got to, that means sparkling water and smart water and all those other water people got to now. It's just madness. It's another way in which they're trying to show some kind of control and authority over people.
Yeah. They basically, Diamond's transgression was to make financial investments to educate the public. They wanted to educate the public. And they get reprimanded for educating the public.
Yeah, why would you want to educate people?
And
we're
supply
trying to have a Walking Dead going on.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty eye opening. Not a surprise, but eye opening, like I said, because the FDA obviously, to me is as organized crime. They make Lucky Luciano look like. Like Dora the Explorer.
Wow. I mean, what can I say, man? Every time I build with you guys, it's always something enlightening. We encourage all of you just to add on. If you have some interesting snippets of some information that are really eye-opening, like definitely give it to us. But I mean, the FDA, the USDA, I mean, they're pretty much the same company. They're all the same company.
Yep.
Thank you for that one, brother.
Word.
From the world of religion, report coming out of London through CNN is where I heard about it first. The disciple of Jesus by the name of Peter, or who the Roman Catholics refer to as Saint Peter's bones or remains, will be put on display for the first time in the Vatican. And it says that this basically concludes the Catholic Church's year of faith. The one thing that, many of you remember about Peter was, Jesus said that it would be Peter who would betray him when by the time the cock crowed 3 times.
Yes, sir.
And when Peter was asked certain things, he basically lied, about his discipleship or his loyalty to Jesus.
I do not know the man. Nah, dude, you sound just like him.
Tell him,
you accent your words and everything.
tell him.
Nah, I don't know the man.
Right.
No, yes you do. I mean, look at the way you dress, and even the other person said you. No, I swear to you, I did. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh man, Jesus said that shit was gonna happen. I gotta bounce.
Right.
So let me show them that story.
Well, this is the man, right?
That's supposed to be the man.
That's the man.
Now, what's
whose bones
interesting
they have there.
is Jesus also says, "On this rock I will build my church, and I give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven and earth, and whatever you bound on earth will be bound in heaven." Loose quote, Matthew somewhere, reference that. And even so, that's where Catholics kind of get the whole Pope hierarchy from, and so I guess that's part of the importance of them releasing the Pope is that releasing Peter's bones, right? Is that every Pope is supposed to come from Peter somehow, some way.
I have something for you. It says that well, I won't go into Constantine, but anyways, mentioned. It says in the article, it says, quote, "The remains will be revealed on Sunday. The remains which will be revealed on Sunday were among those discovered during an archaeological dig begun on the site in 1939. In 1968, the then Pope Paul VI declared that they have been identified in a manner which we believe convincing." And then the article goes on.
Paul VI, the same one who's noted for saying, "This myth of Jesus has served us very well." That Pope the Sixth?
Oh, no.
Okay.
1968.
Okay,
It says, "But with no DNA evidence to conclusively prove their identity, whether they belong to St. Peter is likely to remain an enduring mystery." And one thing that needs to be mentioned is that thus far, 8.5 million people have pilgrimaged there this year amidst this unveiling of St. Peter's remains.
That's better than a new ride at Disneyland. I swear, yeah.
Y'all want to go to Rome, man?
If they're going to give me a discount, they're obviously making enough money, they can shoot us a free ticket.
But, I don't know, because, Italy has some serious fascism going on there, so I don't know if our type of genetic code would be embraced there.
Well, I'm going to be getting into something similar in a minute.
True indeed.
Okay.
Pass it over to Jaquil, guys.
Yeah, okay, so I got a story that's dealing with anonymous internet and keeping your privacy. So, for some of you may be aware, I definitely talked about it, posted links. There's a utility you can download for free, FREE. Some people like free stuff, right? Cost you nothing, and that will protect your internet browsing. So basically, what was it? Like, I searched for something one time on Google, and then when I went to dictionary.com, I got an ad for that thing that I searched for, like 2 weeks later. So basically the long and short of that story, right, is things that you search for are no longer private. Right? So all your information now begins to be circulated, and they can advertise to you different things to try and get you to consume. So that with this program, Tor, you'll be able to surf anonymously. So it basically routes, the long and short, I don't know how technical everyone is, but it takes your IP address, which is like your home address, and it says that you actually don't live in that place, but that you live in this place. so that you're not trackable. And then it routes your information through a server that doesn't keep any of your data. So when you get this, because basically you're never not trackable, right? But so this makes it a lot harder. So when you get this, it's not coming from your home address; it's coming from another place. So when this place accesses the server actually goes out to get the information for you, brings it back here, and then sends it to you. So it's anonymous because that computer only knows that it's sending it to the server. The server doesn't keep any record of what it's doing. So even though if they want to query and try and see if you were searching for, I don't know, bullets for your gun, or what's that one lady who got arrested for, or she didn't get arrested, but they kicked in her house because she was looking for pressure cookers after the whole fake Boston bombing thing. Right, information like that won't be able to get used against you. And I bring that up. There's a documentary called "Terms and Conditions May Apply," and it's actually dealing with how when you sign, you sign up for a Gmail address, or Amazon account, whatever these online services you're using, Facebook, right? If you actually read the terms of agreement, you give away a lot of your privacy. So this is one of those ways you can keep it. So the article is actually about a network box that you can plug into. You don't even have to configure it anything. $50, you buy it, and it secures your privacy so that you're a little bit more safe and have some, some sense of privacy.
Wow. Good.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting how in this information age that we're in, our privacy is going with it. It's like the more information we have at our fingertips, the less we can retain some sense of privacy.
It seems that way, especially when you're using, of course, some of my friends who are a little bit more computer savvy were like, well, duh, dude, that's why I have a Linux box. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but, not everyone is savvy enough to own a Linux box or, want to deal with that. Although it's ultra simple nowadays. I mean, it's pretty much, it's like installing Windows. You just click next, and it'll do it all for you and all that. But, people generally go with things that are more popular, right? You're not going to go to Best Buy or Fry's and say, yeah, let me buy that Dell computer with Linux on it.
Right.
Doesn't really exist.
Indeed. Thank you for that one.
But yeah, keep your privacy, people.
Yeah.
Hit them up about more tech tools to protect yourself. All right, brothers.
Okay, yeah. So this one's coming from Forbes, and the headline is Israel forcibly injecting African immigrants with birth control, report claims. So right. So I'll just read it. This weekend, a report revealing that African women immigrating to Israel were subjected to mandatory contraceptive injections, effectively amounting to forced sterilization, made global headlines. Some 130,000 Ethiopians, most of them Jewish, live in Israel. The community experiences higher poverty and unemployment rates. Of course, they have to sprinkle that in. In the rest of the country's Jewish population. In the past decade, the birth rate among Ethiopian Israelis has declined by at least 20%. Advocacy groups now claim this decline is the result of a birth control regimen forced upon Ethiopian immigrant women.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean this goes in line with the agendas of your Margaret Sangers and your Planned Parenthoods and things of that nature. Your women's right to choose, which obviously was a marketing tool to get black and brown women to abort their children and things of that nature. But I think it's important to note that this type of practice is not exclusive to overseas. This definitely went down to if it's in some respects still going down today in America.
Vaccines,
vaccines,
flu shots.
right? What's the ingredient in the flu shot? Polysorbate, which is known to sterilize animals. So
Mercury.
Right. So they're just a little bit more sneaky here, but the same practice is going down, and it's just about making sure black, brown, yellow children aren't born at the rate that they normally would be, so that we don't, you know, for lack of a better term, outbreed Caucasian people.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it's interesting how you pointed out the hypocrisy of it all, because at least in the Torah, I don't recall anything about sterilization if you're a so-called Jew.
Mm-hmm.
I remember early in the 1990s, I'm not being condescending, man. It's just, I gotta make it clear. The early 1990s, I remember this report that came out in, an alternative news source about how the fallacious Jews had immigrated to Israel, and sometime after that, migration to what they would consider home, they had found out that a lot of their blood had been destroyed. They had basically donated blood, and the powers that be, whoever was controlling that, destroyed a whole bunch of those people's blood. They were basically donating it like you would in any other country. I mean, if you look at the history of the fallacious Jews, or what they call the Ethiopian Jews in Israel, there's been a whole bunch of racial discrimination coming at the hands of Israel.
To this day, there was a video that I did acknowledge to. I think you might have posted it, or
okay.
There's a lot of so-called Africans migrating into Israel due to the civil wars in their countries, and they're just being put amongst all types of hatred and violence, and people spitting on them, and all types of ignorance. So you would think that this would be notable in news, for the globe to see, because it's dealing with injustices, but
doesn't really come out like that.
Right. But that's what we're here for. You know what I mean?
Freedom, justice, and equality.
Exactly.
Indeed. Thank you for that, God. I had found out about this website. It's being declared as one of the 50, I guess, most popular websites now. It's called foratv.com. So I checked out, I guess it's a lecture by Dr. David B. Agus, who is the professor of medicine and engineering at the University of Southern California. And he wrote a book. It's called A Short Guide to a Long Life. So I just kind of took interest in it because, I really wanted to see what his presentation would be about in regards to just the new development in healthcare with Obamacare. And also, I picked up some things off of there, and I actually wanted to have my health experts with me, kind of challenge some of these views. But among other things, he was just kind of arguing about the premise of what good health is, and what people can do to improve their health, and how simple it is, being caught up in this world of paperwork, and this is wrong and this is right. But one of the things he quoted Hippocrates, one of the ancient Greeks, where he said that Hippocrates, the Hippocratic Oath. We did a show about medicine, American Medical Association.
Well, you remember the Bill Cosby, the Bill Cosby episode where he had the sandwich?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. What was that?
He was dreaming, right?
Yeah, he was dreaming. There was just like some kind of hoagie sandwich or something.
When he gave birth to one.
Was that
the one?
Nah, I think it was the other one when Olivia was in it or something. She went to the fridge and the sandwich was talking to her, or something like that.
See that one?
Yeah. I have to see if we can find that on the chat.
Well, it said that Hippocrates said that if you ate or basically drank the bark of the willow tree, it will reduce, fever and sickness. So
hey, wait! Don't let the FDA find out.
Oh no! Don't let them find that out. So apparently, what Dr. Agus was saying is that this translates today into taking what's known as baby aspirin. So apparently he said that taking baby aspirin, taking one pill a day, would reduce the death rate of cancer by 37%, heart disease by 22%, and stroke by 17%. So I thought that was interesting. Of course, it all remains to be seen, but one of the things he was saying is that there are simple remedies that we could utilize to prevent cancer, because he was really focusing on cancer. He was coming up with some really simple things to prevent cancer.
One of the most simple
Go ahead, God.
is don't eat. Fast.
Don't eat what?
Just fast.
Just fast?
Yeah, fast now, every now and again. Allow your body to clean itself out.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would be a recommended amount of fasting?
Well, I'll get to that. I have another
Sure.
comment that deals with fasting. See how we're all connected?
Yeah.
It's
one of mine.
You
It's that Voltron right there.
True indeed. Now, he said that statins reduce the incidence and recurrence of cancer. Of course, there are some FDA and American Medical Association guidelines about limitations on statins. So what I'm saying is, don't run out and buy, what is it called, Lipitor?
Okay, yeah.
Because that's considered a statin. There's a whole list of them out there on the market. If you're trying to reduce high cholesterol, among other things he just mentioned, you can fast it and also look into some natural remedies. But he said statins, apparently, if they're prescribed, are supposed to reduce
okay, so
the potential you'll get cancer.
That was
Go
almost
ahead,
Captain
God.
Curtis of you.
Yeah, go ahead, God. Break it down.
Again, I don't hold no PhDs in this area, but let's just try this. If you're having an issue with cholesterol, why don't you stop eating foods that are high in cholesterol?
Think that might work?
How about you try burning off some of that cholesterol, maybe by exercising? I mean, again, was it you guy who did the article that Bear didn't want to get rid of their batch of aspirin that was known to have, what was it, AIDS in it? And instead of getting rid of that, they sold it. So now here we have a guy telling us to go buy children aspirin. Children aspirin. Adults to buy children aspirin.
Baby aspirin.
Baby.
It's called baby aspirin.
Baby aspirin. Wow, you're going 2 steps back. 3 steps back, right? And the consumer. Now we know that aspirin does things like increases your potential for heart attack. Right? We know that's a fact. So you're trying to tell me to get rid of one potential evil, I should risk my chances with another evil? Does he also own like a heart dispensary or something?
Right. And that's why I brought this here, because it comes down to, in that presentation, it was somewhat, there were a lot of contradictions in it. It's like, okay, well, here's the simplicity of it, but then you're going back into saying that these items can be used. And again, remember, doctors, especially if they're aligned with universities and the American Medical Association, remember that the medical industry is a huge business. It's multi-billions of dollars. So you could write a book that Steve Jobs could tell you to change the title of, because that's why he changed the title of his book to Rules to Live Longer By. The first title has something to do with health, but he said Steve Jobs told him to change the title of his book, because he said any book that has health on it is not going to sell well. Because health has a certain stigma attached to it. But so he called it Rules to Live Longer By. Here's the other thing I want to throw out here to y'all. He said that 75% of people in the U.S. are vitamin D deficient.
Yeah.
And that 97% of African Americans are vitamin D deficient. So how do we improve our vitamin D deficiency?
How about go outside?
Not in the rain. In the sun. I know some people want to go outside. In the rain. But, you got to do it in the sun. That's where you get your vitamin D from. You can also, you got to think, due to farming practices, environmental change, right? We're not getting everything that that our parents were getting in the diet, or that their parents were getting in the diet,
Mm.
right? So I'm sure if you would have done this study to when you go back to like our grandparents,
Mhm.
they didn't have vitamin D issues like that,
Mhm.
right? If you go back even farther, they definitely didn't have vitamin D
Mhm.
issues. So part of how you can get vitamin D back is they call them essential fatty acids, right? Omega-3, 6. Most people just do 6, right? Or omega-3, right? But you actually need, and I've talked about this before, you actually need a complex of 3, 6, and 9, with a little bit of 7 in there too. And that's not just because I like that. But so that's what it is. And so when you have those things, that allows your body to actually be able to process and then take vitamin D.
Mm.
And if all else fails, or you feel you want to go that way, you can just take some vitamin D supplemental vitamins. But there's some other issues you need to look at. Then, like, is your body even going to be able to absorb it? Do you have gut issues, like 70+% of Americans do? Which means if you're taking that stuff and it's poorly designed, it generally is, just because they don't design it with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you design a product that will work great on someone who doesn't have absorption issues. But when the person has absorption issues, then that means your product's not going to work well.
Mhm.
So you need to look at those kind of things. But there's definitely some other ways to
Mm.
get some vitamin D in your
Yeah.
life.
Thank you for that. Now over to more news. Brother Shaquille.
I got one from. It's actually kind of local. It's a. You know how I'm always talking about police hiring individuals who don't score so high on the test.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got his name is Robert Jordan, and this is kind of funny only because you have to laugh at how effed up it is.
Mm.
He basically feels that he was discriminated upon because of his test scores.
Mhm.
He scored, what was it? He scored a 33 on the test, which is equivalent to like an IQ of 125. They want people to score between like 20 and 27. And that's what they released. So it's probably a little bit lower than that. It's probably more like 15 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know that, with lack intelligence, cartoons are a perfect example, right? Every bad guy that you see, right? The leader bad guy may be intelligent, right? But all the people around him are dumb goons, right?
Mm.
And don't know anything. So
Mm-hmm.
think about a police officer, right? No intelligence, kind of dumb goon, doesn't really know anything. Good to just do whatever he's told to do.
Mm-hmm.
So in any event, he went to go fight this case, and I don't want to get anyone in trouble here. Oh, the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeal upheld the decision and reaffirmed, because he lost the case, so he tried to take it back to court, and they reaffirmed the decision saying that because it is a standard placed on everyone, it's not discrimination.
Man, so they want dumb cops.
Right. Well, I mean,
I mean, they want dumbass cops.
yeah. And I laugh at the logic behind that statement, though, because they put it a standard out for everyone. That means it's not discrimination. So if I say everyone on the planet who is not dark-skinned black is not quit for work, is it not racist because I put that standard on everyone? You know what I mean? So where can you go with that? You see what I'm saying? So
Right. If they could use that as a way to, I guess, feel like they've gotten justice in a sense. Who's to say that wouldn't be more far-reaching?
And when people, there is an expression called, raising the bar. I mean, the bar should have been raised at this point, because you're going to have several people that come in there and they may just as well score that high.
Right. And you would think you'd want those kind of people to be on there. There was another news story. I guess we got a little bit of time. I don't know if you guys heard about it. The lady who got shot, or
The van.
the minivan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched the video. She fucked up. I just have to keep it real with y'all. Look, the dude pulled her over. She didn't. Her license was expired, which, I'm not gonna. All I'm gonna say is that if you're driving, then you probably need a license. But if you're traveling in your vehicle and you're not committing commerce, that's what the law states, then you don't need a driver's license, right? You can travel in your vehicle. In any event, the cop was gonna let her slide on the whole driver's license thing. He was just like, "You're speeding." Now, where I ran into issue was he was trying to force her to make a decision. So I understand her point on it. Basically, he was trying to say, look, you have 30 days. You can either go to court and you have to sign that you're going to go to court within that 30-day period, and or you can pay this $125 or $26 ticket. But you have to pick one or the other right now. And her defense, which I understand, is I can't make a decision on that now because I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm going to have the $126 to pay, and if I don't, now I'm liable for that thing. Or, if I'm going to go see the judge and then I can't make it for whatever reason. And so then where she made her mistake at is the cop says, well, hold on right there and I'll be back. He turns around and walks to his car. And like a gangster, she just steps on the gas
in a minivan.
In the minivan.
Man.
Well, okay, so now, then the cop gets in his car, he pulls up behind her, puts on the lights, catches up, and then she pulls over. So now is just where the story really gets hairy, right? Her son gets out of the car trying to protect his mom, I guess, because the cop was trying to pull her out of the car. And then other officers came, and then everyone jumped back in the car, and then there was some gunshots fired, and then she sped out, and that's when she was mashing in the minivan. That's a great commercial for Dodge, by the way.
For Dodge.
But yeah, so I don't know. What did you guys think about that? My idea is that she really messed up as far as just okay. If he's only giving you that choice of one or two choices, then just because of his position and your position, then that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Trying to smash off in a Dodge minivan,
Right.
probably not the
No,
best.
I mean, in a nutshell, there was a comedian out there. I just can't remember at the moment. But when he did this bit on, how we deal with the police, he said that there's one thing that you have to remember about police officers is that they all want to go home, safe and sound to their families or whatever their situation is. So it's important to cooperate with them. Hopefully they're not aggressive or illogical with you.
Well, they have a high IQ.
Right. But the main thing is just, cooperate. That's the first rule. Cooperate. You know what I mean?
Don't risk your life or your
Right.
kid's life, right?
Right.
When I saw the gunshots go off, I was thinking, what kind of gun is that dude shooting, and what kind of metal is in that cheap ass minivan, right? And
Probably going through, yeah.
you got kids in the vehicle, right? So that dude shoots off 2 or 3 shots. He's no defense to cops, but the majority of y'all can't shoot. Right? So dude might be aiming for the tire and hit something else, right?
Yeah.
Or the bullet bounces off of something kind of weird. And now one of your kids are laying in the back of the minivan shot. Or you get shot and drive off the cliff. And kill everyone.
Chimandi, hey, thank you for that, God.
Yeah.
Over to the mighty Jeru.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it brief. We got a joint on fasting. This one also comes from Real Pharmacy.
All right.
Right. Just a little brief synopsis of it. It just talks about how some of the benefits of fasting. So scientists acknowledge 3 major mechanisms by which fasting benefits your body as it extends a lifespan and protects against disease. Number 1 was reduced oxidative stress. Fasting decreases the accumulation of oxidative radicals in the cell and thereby prevents oxidative damage to cellular proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids associated with aging and disease. Number 2, increased insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial energy efficiency. Fasting increases insulin sensitivity along with mitochondrial energy efficiency and thereby retards aging and disease, which are typically associated with loss of insulin sensitivity and decreased mitochondrial energy. And number 3, increased capacity to resist stress, disease, and aging. Fasting induces a cellular stress response similar to that of exercise, in which cells upregulate the expression of genes that increase the capacity to cope with stress and resist disease and aging. So, I mean, that's briefly some of the benefits of fasting. But, the reason why I would recommend fasting for people is because in America we just eat too much food. So we never give our digestive systems a chance to rest. Then at some point our body's going to start breaking down on us. So
For sure.
Simply put.
Me and my buddy, he's a physical therapist. We should train martial arts together. But he was just dealing with. We were talking about Kobe and his injury, and he also got an injury too playing basketball. And so we were just looking at different reasons and causes of that. And so you got to think when you put lots of repetitive stress like that on the body, right?
Pattern overload. Yep.
And you've got to give it time to heal and to decomp. And, if you put in many hours, I mean, there's times where that dude doesn't really come out the game, right? And so, I mean, man, you're not 22 anymore, 24 anymore, 26 anymore even, right?
Right. A lot of those injuries, too, are based specifically on imbalances in the body,
Right.
Majority of
His
the
workout
injury,
regimen.
Exactly.
That's what else I brought up, too. I was like, is it his... he's not just working out properly. But I would imagine, man, how much money do you have to throw at him? That doesn't mean that the dude's necessarily qualified.
Yeah. I mean, like some of the smallest things, like your foot pronating, like you got to remember the body is a unit. So one little ounce of that unit is off, it affects the whole structure.
Right. Can you explain to people pronation versus...
Pronation, I want to say, is when your foot rolls this way.
Yeah.
Or is it inward? You got to put me on the spot.
Basically, pronation and supination, right?
Right.
So it was pronation and supination, I think.
Pronation is this way. I remember now. Yeah, pronation is when your arch is kind of caving in, and then that puts pressure on the hip, the knee, all the way up into the lower back.
Right.
So a lot of pain. A lot of times people have lower back pain. They think that it's an issue with their back, but it's actually rooted in the foot, in the ankle complex being off.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Now, do you work out to fix those things?
What you have to do is, for one, you have to do some stretching. You have different muscles in the calf that generally get too tight, so you have to do a little bit of tissue work on those areas to loosen those up, and also you have to strengthen the muscles that work in tandem.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you have, like, for example, you have like your quad and your hamstring. These are two different muscle groups, but they work in tandem together. So while one is contracting, the other one is relaxed, and vice versa. So one is very, very strong, and generally that means the other one is very, very weak. So you want balance between the two areas, so then the body can function as it should.
What would be a really good regimen of exercises, or at least one that people can begin with if they do notice that ailment, so to speak?
Well, everybody, honestly, every person I come across has the general issues most people have is rounded shoulders from sitting like this at a desk all day. Their head jots forward based on being at a computer and on a cell phone. Hips are tight because you're sitting, so your hips are naturally supposed to be this way. If you're sitting, they're going to be in a position like this because you're bent, right? So that muscle tissue gets extremely tight from being in that flexed position all day. So then you stand up, and that throws your whole pelvis out of alignment, puts pressure on your back, and then that whole system is messed up. So what you would really need to do is first and foremost look at your lifestyle and the things that you do often. You have to do things to combat them. So if you're sitting a lot, you have to find time to stand up, stretch, maybe do some yoga, do some type of tissue work like foam rolling, which foam rolling is just kind of like a deep tissue massage that you can do on yourself. If you're not familiar with it, just Google foam rolling or SMR. And yeah, those are a couple things you could do.
Steve, thank you.
One quick thing I wanted to drop is it relates to exercise. The long-standing myth that to lose fat You need to do hours of cardiovascular exercise is something that needs to be thrown out the window. Various studies have been out since really the 90s that talk about you actually burn more calories doing a short, intense workout. So up to 20 minutes. So if they call it metabolic training, which would basically not to get too far into the science, but there's something known as VO2, which basically deals with the oxygen level. If you're, I won't go too far into that because not everyone has the ability to, test their VO2 or whatnot. But basically, you want to train, maybe 3 very hard exercises for short time with no rest, little to no rest, and just go as hard as you can in that 10-20 minute duration, and you may not burn as many calories during that 20-minute bout, but something known as EPOC, which is excessive post oxidative what's the C stand for, consumption, pardon me. Yeah, that basically deals with the amount of calories you burn after workout. So if you were to really go hard in 10 to 20 minutes, you can actually keep burning calories for 38 hours after your workout. So you end up burning way more calories in total than you would if you just spent an hour doing a moderate cardio treadmill.
And that's the time where you actually want to eat your meal. It's after that workout period.
Yeah.
A lot of people eat beforehand and then try to go and work out.
Exactly.
It's kind of backwards like that.
Right.
Eat, and just shit in your stomach.
Right. So I plan on putting together some videos of some of that metabolic training. So
What y'all really should do is hit the God up.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to ask.
LA.
Where can they see your spot in terms of your fitness training, God?
Well, I actually train out of 24-hour fitness, in Los Angeles. But you could hit me up and we could set something up. The best place to get me would probably be email, which is majestic, SUN, the number 360 @gmail.com. You could just hit me up if you have questions, concerns, or if you really want to get a workout in. Just hit me up.
Can you hit them with your email information one more time?
Yeah, majestic, MAJESTIC, SUN, the number 360 @gmail.com.
Hit them up, y'all. It's important.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, God. And Brother Jaquil. So I had this just more or less an announcement, but we know that the Typhoon Haiyan that hit the Philippines earlier this month has been devastating. I mean, depending on which news source you're looking at and whether or not you're there or not, but since I'm not there, I'm looking at all these news feeds. They're saying there have been in upwards of about 5,000 or 5,100 deaths as a result of that, and the toll continues to climb. One of our righteous brothers, his name is Freedom Self-Born Allah, from Seattle. He, of course, is originally from the Philippines.
They call it Morocco, right?
True indeed. Seattle is also known as Morocco in our culture. And he's involved in an organization. It's called the National Alliance for Filipino Concerns. It's abbreviated N as in Nancy, AFCON USA. And up to this day, as he informed me last night, they've raised $300,000 for the relief effort going on in the Philippines. The thing about this particular relief effort, and you can check out their website, it's at http://nafconusa.org. Again, that's N as in Nancy, AFCONUSA.org. And what he said was that the interesting thing about this organization is it's not tied to any government agencies. So what that means is that this is something that's being run by a people's coalition. You know what I mean? So the way they're funding this effort, they're making sure that members of their organizations are the ones, monitoring the funding and, applying it where it's needed and applying it how it is supposed to be applied. So if you like, you can get in contact with them They have a really nice website. You know, it's reputable, and you can just look at the donation options there that they have for you if you would like to contribute some money to this effort. So check out the National Alliance for Filipino Concerns, because that's one of the best ways to help with any effort is, you know, donate your time, your money, and your effort.
Yeah.
So I want to say peace to the people in the Philippines, here in the United States and in the Philippines and abroad. You know, I hope your families are safe and recovering well. And of course, you know, we're here to support you in that respect. Any of you who have some other organizations that are out there who are specifically there to help the effort in the Philippines, and also let's not forget about Haiti. You know what I mean? Because you know Haiti is still not rebuilt. You know what I mean? And as always, they've been going through hell. Hit us up so that we can broadcast your organizations who are involved in the relief effort.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let people know we plan on definitely doing a show in regards to a lot of these organizations that are supposed to be helping, and that we donate a lot of our money to.
Right.
And for example, I'll give a brief one. The breast cancer institute. What's the name of the girl? I can't remember the name of with the female who it's named after. But I want to say they made something like $300 million like a year ago, and only 20% of that was actually used for cancer research. Yeah.
Wow.
So just do a little research on whoever you're donating your money to,
Right.
to be sure that that money is going to be used for actually helping these people out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Man,
Let's see.
I know, Jakir, you wanted to conclude the show with another news report.
Oh man, yeah, I can
Yeah,
We
definitely
can
one
go
more.
all day. I know he got a whole boatload.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Mhm.
Let's see. While I pull up this one story, yeah, we can in there. There's a lot of things going on in Texas, which is kind of interesting because they were just having that Obama just gave Clinton and Oprah and some other people an award. They did that, and then Clinton and Obama were going to meet. Something having to do with JFK. So anyway, I don't know if you guys been paying attention. What was it? Friday was the anniversary
50th anniversary.
50th anniversary.
Mhm.
So probably, and definitely what you didn't hear in mainstream media, right, was that anyone who did not agree with the official story of one man and the magic bullet was not allowed to be there. Um, you weren't allowed to buy a ticket. Only media that supported that official story was allowed to be there. If you opposed it, you could not even um, be in the area handing out pamphlets and flyers. They were threatening people with arrest for doing that, basically taking away your freedom of speech. Going down right here in Texas. Man, what else is going on? They repainted the X. They took the X off the floor, trying to say that it was a safety hazard, and they didn't want anyone to trip and fall. Yeah, when was the last time you fell on a piece of tape?
Man.
Literally, it's a piece of tape on the floor. When was the last time anyone fell on a piece of tape? Man, health concerns. But that was all done by the mayor in that city, basically saying, giving out these laws and things like that, taking away or attempting to take away your Second Amendment by saying that the state law supersedes that law. Yeah, so and people were assaulted, stuff like that. But this other thing that I want to talk about as we kind of close up, the NSA.
Yeah.
Not sacred at all. They basically have constructed malware, which anyone who has a Windows computer or has a friend who has a Windows computer is definitely familiar with malware. It's that thing that makes your computer run slow, that blue screens you. So the NSA has constructed with a super elite team of hackers, evil hacksaws, have constructed malware that can infiltrate, or they've been putting it on different networks, which means that you as the end user get infected, right? So, for instance, if they somehow affected Google, right? Because you know that Google and NSA have ties. So if Google somehow got infected, and you, as a normal consumer, just went to Google.com. That was me going to Google.com. Right? You connecting to that server and establishing that handshake, you would download that malware on your computer. Just that simple. Now that malware allows them to have free reign and access to all the data and information going on in your computer. So when you start thinking of things like using a Linux computer, or that other thing I was talking about, Tor, or the device that comes with Tor, these are some real things that you need to look at as far as your privacy maintaining safe.
Indeed. Well, we good for today?
Yeah, I mean, we can go for hours, but no, I think we covered a good amount.
Indeed. So you can
We
expect
can talk
this
about
once a month.
Obama signing up a dog on Obamacare. No, people can sign up, but he signed the dog up on Obamacare, so good for the dog.
Stay tuned, I guess.
Well, I would like to thank my brothers and, of course, the guy Life Allah for bringing this collective together. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you. And I know we've missed it the last couple of shows, but what do you want to tell the people?
Oh, man, Not to Self Radio. You don't have to go to college to do the knowledge.
True indeed. I'd like to thank all of you for viewing our show. As always, it's not possible without you. We hope to, speak with you again next week. We hope you tune in, and hopefully we love to hear from you over the week. Have a good week ahead. We would like to say peace.
Peace.